Welcome to the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame. Today I want to elevate Dr. James Beckett up into the binder of fame here in the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame. I want to move him up into this realm because of the importance that he had in helping cards to evolve in the 80s and the 90s, because the cards themselves changed because of a number of different factors that allowed cards to go from just simple cards that you bought at the gas station or the grocery store or Woolworths, someplace like that. It was the thing that you did every year. It evolved into a nationwide phenomenon with interactions that crossed the country and created great liveliness as well as an economic playground for kids and for teenagers that evolved into something far more complex and intricate in the 1990s. Through this whole time, we needed a guide. We needed somebody who could really help us through. There needed to be a face to cards, not a president, not a leader, not somebody who was overarching and calling all the shots, but rather somebody who is just kind of on the sidelines paying attention and then giving us hints of, okay, so that you know this and that and that. And that's what Dr. James Beckett did, was he gave us a roadmap that we were already going down to help us to understand the path that we were on. Now, during this time, the reason he was able to have the impact was because of the platform he had, which was the Beckett Annuals and the Beckett Monthlies, which meant that he was always he was really always in our ear. We could always hear through text the way that he was seeing cards. And so one of the big things that he did was he paid attention to what other people were saying and took these trends and basically, it was almost like creating a dictionary. He said, okay, this is the way that the hobby works. There were other cases where he was looking at the conversation and figuring out where the conversation seemed to be landing. It wasn't necessarily set, so instead he was able to coalesce it and create a general foundation for how the hobby was thought of. But there were also occasions where he had to sit down and figure it out himself. And there was no place that was more obvious with that than when it came to rookie cards. Because in 1980, a rookie card was obvious. It was the first time that a player had a regular card in a regular set. It's as simple as that. But then by 1982, we had Topps traded sets, which is what Dr. James Beckett referred to as an extended set. You have the regular 792 card set, and then you have an additional 132 card set that's an addendum. It's not a continuation of the numbers like High Series would be with Upper Deck. Instead, this was a standalone set, but it was designed to be integrated into the rest of the main set, and so it extends the set out with a bunch of extra cards of traded players as well as prospects who are now starting to really show up and get people excited, such that in the next season, they're probably going to be rookies. So that was what Dr. James Beckett was grappling with when it came to rookies, is the extended sets. Because look, you got all the main cards, and then Bo Jackson or Jose Canseco, they show up in this extra set. Well, is that actually a rookie card? Because the next year in normal packs, they're going to show up there. But then isn't that really the rookie card? In which case the extended set, I mean, how does that fit in? And what he figured out was that there were a couple of things that defined it as a rookie card. The main two things are the normal experience of card collecting that we go through. When a player shows up in the set as he is just naturally a part of the league, that's a rookie card. Prospects are a borderline affair with that, but still you're showing up in the main set as a part of the league, whether it is the major league or the minor league, so that you're associated with the major league. In either case, you still have a card in the main set. Great. But also the national experience was important, because look, we all experienced cards in about the same way. So it didn't matter where you lived, you were experiencing the exact same cards. With an extended set, it didn't quite work that way, because if you only bought your cards at, say, the gas station down the road, Did they ever have an extended set? You might never know that those cards existed, which means you don't have the ability to collect these cards and experience it the way that other people did. And so that meant that there were certain cards that were just kind of specialized. And so this was kind of the way that he understood it, is that a rookie card, an actual rookie card, is the card that we all collect as a part of a normal set. And there are a number of ways in which this conversation is really well explored. But for what I'm talking about here, I think there's no better example than the Michael Jordan rookie card, which was in Fleer. But there was also a card in 1984 by Star, which there's always been a conversation about, was that a valid rookie card? And the answer is no, Star was not a valid rookie card. There are a couple of reasons. The main argument that you're going to hear for people defending the Star card as the rookie card is, well, look, it was a regularly licensed card and there were no other cards in 1984. That's valid, but what about Duracell cards? What about cards that were sold for Woolworths or for Toys R Us? Do those count? What about Mother's Cookies? Mother's Cookies, these are professionally made with the permission of both the Major League Baseball and the Players Union. And in many cases, those Mother's Cookies cards are the only cards that you're going to see of a player. Except the way that they're distributed is limited and they're regional. The Mother's Cookies cards that everybody experienced didn't have special prospects, but the ones that were regional to the teams were regional to the teams. So when you get to the Michael Jordan rookie card, let's say that in 1983, you're living in Chicago, you're a big Bulls fan, and they draft this player named Michael Jordan, and you're really excited. And then your parents move to, I don't know, Ann Arbor. So you've moved across the water to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you're not too far away, so you can still go and watch some games in Chicago. It's really fun, but it's like a day. You make it a whole day to go and experience it. But your life now in Michigan is very, very different. And so you're looking forward to when you can finally collect your favorite players. And then in 1986, finally, Fleer provides you with basketball cards that you can collect. And you get Michael Jordan, you get all the players on the team. 1987, a new set comes out. 88, 89, now there's also NBA hoops. And by 1990, dude, this is really cool because you've got so many Bulls cards. There's so much to collect. And then you start hearing this rumor about these Star cards. Now, you've seen Star because they had a bunch of different sets. They had cards of Kevin Johnson and Larry Bird and David Robinson. They were like this secondary set, kind of like what Classic had over in baseball. And so you kind of knew who they were, but they weren't really all that professional. But you heard that in 1984, there was this Michael Jordan card. And you thought, well, cool, I'd love to see that. But you can't find one. 1991 passes by. 1992, you're off in Detroit at a card show, big card show, and you see one. Somebody has one of these Star rookie cards. The card was released in 1984, and in 1984, you would have collected it if you knew about it. But here it is in 1992, and you're finally seeing one for the first time. Why? Because you didn't live in Chicago and you didn't happen to be able to access that set. So here's the problem. It's easy to look at that card and say, well, that was his first appearance on a card and it was officially licensed. Well, that's great. But it was not sold in packs, which is the typical way that we experience cards, but most significantly, it wasn't national, it was regional. Which means that if you were collecting cards of a specific team and you lived in another part of the country, there was no chance you could ever collect this card, which means it's not a rookie card that most collectors ever got to experience. And that's something that Dr. James Beckett understood about card collecting, which is that it is a community experience. We're all going through the same journey. We're all experiencing the same cards in similar ways. And when you create these definitions of what defines the hobby, whether it's a UER or an XRC or whatever these terms like SP stand for, it's because it stands for the same thing for all of us. We may have a slightly different version of how we interpret maybe the value of something or the importance of something, but at the end of the day, we all lock onto that one point and go, okay, I understand what is referred to as that because it relates to this and this and this and this. So when you got, say, an Andre Ware card or a Ty Detmer card in Series 1 of Pro Set, these were still college cards. And in Series 2, that's when you would get the actual rookie card. And you understood that. There's the XRC, and then there's the rookie card itself, the rookie proper. And you understood that that's because when Andre Ware appears in Series 1, he's still a college player. He's not yet a pro player. And so we wait for the rookie card of him when he's now a full-blown pro player. We're perfectly fine with that because draft pick rookie cards they're a step ahead of the normal rookie cards that we used to have in the past when a player finally succeeded enough for a card company to say, okay, you're worth the card set. And so having that balance allowed us to navigate cards as they got more complex. Now, hockey is a whole nother story with the European players. That's a big mess. I don't even want to touch that. But I don't think Dr. James Beckett wanted to touch that either because it's noble and all to cover all of that. But at the end of the day, it's a really complex world. And the fact that we had somebody who was able to have the platform to help guide us along, but more importantly, cared so much about all of it that he really did help us in a time that we desperately needed. I'm not going to say he was the only person who could have done that. It's just that he was the right person at the right time under the right circumstances, and he succeeded in taking it seriously and making it all a reality. And the hobby cannot thank him enough because of how much we needed him. And for him, he was just a guy just kind of doing his thing. And, he doesn't even need to be thanked because of the fact that as far as he's concerned, it all works. But for us, we need that guide. And so there is nobody who I feel is more important to be in the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame's Binder of Fame than Dr. James Beckett. Thank you, Dr. James Beckett. Even though you're never going to see this, I do want to thank you anyway. So that is my look at Dr. James Beckett in terms of how he fits and why he fits into the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame. I've already done a couple of entries before, so you can go back and check out what other cards I've entered into, or I guess I should say for this case, what cards I've entered into the Binder of Fame. So far it's still kind of limited. I'm still building up and creating a large enough Hall of Fame, a Binder of Fame presence. So that's coming up. And then I do have a couple of stories of cardboard that are going to be coming up in this month as well. So definitely check that out. But I do want to thank you for following along in this journey talking about Dr. James Beckett because I feel passionately about the importance that he had in the hobby, and I also feel very passionately about making sure that there are standards because there has never been a time in card collecting where standards have been more necessary than now, but it's impossible to have that. Even Dr. Beckett couldn't come in and save this because we're not ready to hear it. But for a window of time, we were ready to hear it, and the person was there to help guide us. And so at least we had it then. So thank you very much for watching.